Hi, everyone. November is usually a time when race drivers look to their future for this next season. And today, a man joins me who's just done that. Hello, Mr. Hunter McElrea.
Hey Tom, long time no speak.
It's been a while, brother. Now, you've got some great news to share. Come on, let's get it straight from the top. Tell me the news.
Yeah, so a few days ago, I just announced that I'm joining Andretti Autosport for the 2022 Indy Lights season. So obviously, for me, it's pretty huge, or it's extremely huge announcement. Obviously, they're the powerhouse Indy Lights team, and not only in Indy Lights but also in IndyCar. Obviously, everyone knows who Andretti Autosport is. So yeah, just a dream come true for me. Obviously, starting from Formula Ford, progressing all the way through to now being Indy Lights, and you know, obviously I'm just moving into Indy Lights now, but the fact that my next step is IndyCar is super exciting. So I had a few tests. Obviously, I had my first test at the official test in the Indy GP a few weeks ago, and then I just came off my second test yesterday in Sebring, which was also very good. So yeah, so far just still hasn't got old. I mean, super exciting.
So, Indy Lights is the step down from IndyCar. So, basically, your next step from Indy Lights is IndyCar. So,
Yeah,
you're almost close to your dream. How does that make you feel?
yeah, it's amazing. Like, just even just driving an Indy Lights car, like it's so fast. I mean, um, obviously USF 2000 and Indy Pro are also very fast race cars, but the Indy Lights is just a huge step up. It's you go from going 250 kilometers an hour to 300. You got way bigger brakes, turbo, push to pass, all these new things. The cars are 500 horsepower on when you're using push to pass. So obviously we've pretty much got close to V8 supercar horsepower with like a quarter of a weight.
Yeah.
So it's like just such a beast of a car. And I was speaking to actually Kyle Kirkwood, who was the guy who won Indy Lights this season for Andretti. And he was telling me, he's done some IndyCar testing. And he told me that the step from Indy Lights to IndyCar is a lot smaller than the step from Indy Pro to Indy Lights. So that was quite interesting. And yeah, just to be kind of feeling as comfortable as I kind of do, I think so early, I guess you could say in my Indy Lights career, I'm really happy about. It's kind of taken me by surprise, um, how quickly I've been able to be up to speed.
And for those who might not know, tell me a bit about Andretti Autosport because they are one of the biggest race teams, not just in America, but in the world. So tell us a bit about Andretti and the size and the scale of that organization.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, obviously, Andretti is one of the most successful race teams all time. It all starts with Mario, the legend, who's won F1 World Championships, IndyCar Championships, NASCAR races, pretty much everything he's driven and won in. And he's just one of the all-time motorsport legends. And then there's Michael Andretti, who obviously IndyCar champion, F1 driver, and it just has such a the Andretti name obviously has such a rich history in racing. And obviously the team is just crazy. Like I went to do my first seat fit, and just showing up to the race shop was just like kind of what I imagine a Formula One shop would look like as a little kid. It's just there's hundreds of people there. Shop's huge. There's just Indy cars, Indy Lights cars, sports cars, everything there. And it's just all these trophies, Indy 500 trophies. Any cool IndyCar trophy, like an iconic trophy, they've won it. So just to be kind of that close to the pinnacle. Like I said, they're also an IndyCar team. So there's a lot of the technology and the systems in place that they use from IndyCar that they also use in Indy Lights. So it's been a crazy step up in just everything of professionalism in terms of just the protocols you do, the engineering side, and everything's just been a huge step up. So to be a part of that brand, and I guess a part of the team as a driver, is something that for me is really special because it's almost comes with like a responsibility, because you're driving for one of the best teams in the world. And I'm just so excited for that opportunity, and for sure, I think I'm going to make the most of it.
So take me into the first test in a new team. Like Do you go around and ask everybody their name, sit into the car? How does the first test, the first day in the new team all go?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really big learning experience. Firstly, there's the new people, new car, new everything. It's just, for example, just first time in the car. Another difference from what I've been used to is the steering wheel is a lot different. So it's actually a similar wheel, but more buttons and a few maps, or engine map and a gear map. So basically, every time you hop in the car, you have to put it in a certain gear map. And what that does is basically programs the ECU for the different gear ratios that are in the car, because in Indy Lights, you can change the gear ratios everywhere you go. So for me, that was kind of like something that I was thinking about a lot before I got in. Kind of overthought it a little bit. But once I did it and figured out how easy it was, I was like, okay, it's not that hard. It's just a new system to get used to. And then, the first time, it's funny because when you are in that gear map, it actually only lets you have 50% of throttle. So you can be flat to the floor, but the ECU only let you have 50% of throttle. And I remember thinking like, wow, this thing's fast, like in the gear map. And then I put it off the gear map into the standard race mode, and it was like, whoa, this is fast. Like the first time I went flat, I was like, wow, like this is really fast. Doing just under 300k an hour was pretty cool for the first time. And then probably like 3 laps in, I started to feel kind of natural. And then, I think it probably took me about 10 laps and I was pretty well like on the pace. And I was surprised because I guess surprised is the wrong word, but the Indy Lights is just such a big jump. You see some people, it takes them a long time to adjust. Some people, it's different for everyone. It's not like everyone hops in and is fast straight away. Some people get up to speed, some people don't. It's just one of these things where it's like, for sure, a really big step. And obviously an important one. So I didn't really have any expectation. I just wanted to try and feel as comfortable as I could, because I knew if I felt comfortable, I'd be okay. And I mean, my second session in the car, I was half a tenth off P1, P2. So on day one. So I was really kind of happily surprised with that. I think it was a really good sign of kind of how I felt really quickly comfortable. And then the next day I put it P1. So I ended up third overall my first test. But, to be consistently at the front of the timesheets, topping sessions in the top 3, kind of learning a lot still, was a really good sign. And came off my second test day in the car yesterday at Sebring. And that's where it wasn't the full field of cars. There was 8 cars. So there was 4 Andretti cars. Obviously, one of them was me. And then there was 4 HMD cars who were pretty much the main competition of Andretti last year. Definitely, the 2 top teams for sure, judging off last year. And we had, the times up, basically a timeline. So it was a private test, but everyone could see the times that everyone was doing. And I ended up topping that test. So obviously it's great and I'm really happy, but my focus still is just really on my own program and just trying to feel comfortable and learning a lot, because I'm still learning so much every lap with this new car and new team. So overall, I'm super happy, obviously, to be fast, but no prizes yet. So just really kind of focusing just on my own program and like I said, learning a lot with this new team. And obviously being fast is good, but that's kind of a byproduct of what I just talked about, of the kind of focusing yourself. So just loving it, to be honest. Just the whole experience has been awesome so far.
Yeah, so the season starts obviously next year. So between now and then, what happens?
Yeah, well, for the first time, really, ever since I can remember, I've usually this time of year, I'm pretty much going back home and trying to get sponsorship dollars together to put together something to race the next year. And at this point in time, I'm obviously signed up. I'm still, truthfully, there's still budget being pulled together, but I have enough of it secured with some of my existing sponsors, and a big part of my kind of new equity program of people investing in my future earnings summing up really quick, and a bunch of my investors have came on, which has made it possible for me. So it's given me this opportunity to basically start 2022 now. And for me, I'm loving it because usually I'm not driving at all. And to be honest, I'm driving more than I ever have. So I have 3 more test days coming up before the end of the year, and then some more test days before the season starts. So positives for sure is just obviously I love being able to be cutting laps and learning still, and basically just getting ready for next year's championship assault. And I guess the negative of that is I'm not going to be able to go home to Australia and New Zealand, but it's the way it is, and especially when I'm getting to drive an Indy Lights car, it could be worse. So little bummer not to go home and see everyone, especially, not only my family and friends, but a lot of my loyal sponsors and supporters. I would have loved to catch up and kind of just talk to them about the year that was, and, what's coming up, the exciting things, obviously, with my new Andretti Indy Lights contract. So just the way the world is right now, but for sure, this time of year for me is very different than what it has been.
Yeah, I suppose. Do you have to move house now? Are you? What's your personal plans? What's Christmas looking like? And do you have to move house?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super lucky. I've been obviously living with the Paps family, who are the team I previously drove for in USF 2000 Indy Pro, and truthfully, they're like a second family to me. They've, given me a bed to sleep in and just looked after me so well. So they've been awesome and letting me stay with them, these last few months, which is just incredibly appreciated by myself and my family, especially, when I don't have any of my own family over here. It makes it a lot easier. But I'm definitely obviously planning to moving in Indy early 2022, not only to be kind of close to obviously Andretti shop based in Indianapolis, but just little stuff like having my own trainer that I work with every day or every second day, 3-4 times a week, and basically just being there, living it every day, just being close to the shop, like I said, working out, just all that stuff. And Indianapolis is such a racing hub. Obviously the speedway's there, but just it's got such a racing vibe to it, because everyone who's in Indy is 9 times out of 10 they have something to do with racing, and that's really cool. So really excited to get down there. Should be great, I think, just to like I said, be living it. And to be working with a trainer like I touched on is going to be really great as well. Obviously the Indy Lights car is very physical, but also if next year goes to plan, I could be testing an Indy car next year. So I want to be ready for that too. So a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Obviously, I've just started dabbling in Indy Lights, but the start I've kind of had is just it's looking like it's going to be a really exciting year.
Well, we haven't even made the announcement yet, mate, that since karting, Doric and Doric New Zealand has been by your side, and in 2022 Indy Lights, we're still together, brother.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's been super cool to have the support of all the Doric, I guess you could say the Doric family, since I was in go-karts. Obviously what I was doing in go-karts was a lot less serious than what I'm doing now. But I always had the goal to be here. And, I guess you could say I'm 75% of the way there, or whatever you want to call it, maybe more. But for sure, I think it's a bit surreal even to be, wearing this hat and driving for a team like that in Indy Lights when I was, it doesn't feel like that long ago. I was still mucking around in go-karts, only dreaming about it. So it hasn't been a walk in the park, but it's been an amazing journey. I've been really lucky to have had an experience to this point. But it's been a lot of hard work too. So it wouldn't have been possible without, for sure, the supporters I have, like you guys, making it a reality for me.
Yeah, that's motorsport story is always people that have to support you to get you where you are. It's not like the Netflix show where you can just be the drug dealer that can turn your racing career around.
Yeah, that's I would recommend anyone watching that. Yeah, I think
Bad
it's called
Sport.
Bad Sport.
Yeah.
Bad Sport, and yeah, the episode with Randy Lanier. It's pretty crazy if you watch it. It's I won't spoil too much, but basically, it's a guy who funded his way to basically Indy 500 in some pretty interesting ways. So yeah, that's definitely not something that I would have done, but it worked for him to a point. So no, that was a good point.
All right, bro. We're so proud of you. We're so excited. It's obviously we'd love to have seen you in person over Christmas this year, but I suppose the silver lining for us is that we can come over and watch you live in a race, probably for the first time in a long time. So we're super proud of you. We know you're going to do a sensational job next year. You're going to prepare yourself perfectly for what is one of the biggest years of your career. So we're so excited and we're so proud to be partnered with you. And congratulations, mate, again.
Thanks so much, mate. I really appreciate it.
All right, mate. Talk soon. Bye.